Hello everyone, I'm Onna Harps and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. Today I am going to be reviewing a documentary that comes on A&E. It comes on Thursday nights and it's called Inmates to Roommates. Now I find this particular documentary hilarious. I just happened to be clicking through, the cable channels and I stumbled upon it and I started binge watching it. So I thought that I'd bring it to you guys and then that way you'll watch the show and then you can come over here and we can have a good key. Anyway, if you like the video, you know the drill. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and you can even share my video. Again, as I said, I am going to be reviewing Inmates to Roommates, and it's a documentary about recently released prisoners that move into complete strangers' homes. Sometimes they're complete strangers, or sometimes they may, know the person through someone else. But anyway, I just found this particular show hilarious. You will not believe the unmitigated gall in the sense of entitlement that some of these people have that have just been released from prison and welcomed into someone else's home. In some of these instances, the inmate acts like the sponsors have actually moved in with them. That's how hilarious this particular documentary is. And anyway, the first group that I want to introduce you to is going to be Dr. Henry and DeQuavion. Now, Dr. Henry, he is a psychiatrist, and he was DeQuavion's psychiatrist before he went into prison. Now, DeQuavion went into prison for home invasions at the age of 17. And now 7 years later, he's 24 years old. So anyway, he gets out of prison and he just really starts off wrong. The first night that he was out of prison, he went out with his cousin and he stayed out all night, and he had missed a job interview. Well, no, he didn't miss the interview. He was an hour late. So you might as well say that he missed the interview. And of course, he didn't get the job. But Dr. Henry had set up this interview, and it was actually at a realtor's office. But anyway, he blew that. So DeQuavion seems to be an intelligent, positive, young man that has done the wrong thing. So anyway, as I said, the first day that he was out, he left with his cousin and, stayed out all night. And then he was an hour late for the job interview that Dr. Henry had set up for him. So anyway, a few weeks later, Dr. Henry and DeQuavion were sitting outside. They were eating fruit and, drinking orange juice. And DeQuavion had told Dr. Henry that, his friend was going to be released from prison and that he couldn't wait to see his friend. So Dr. Henry was like, oh, no, hold up. You're not allowed to be around other ex-felons, and your friend is not welcome here. So anyway, DeQuavion pops an attitude, and he jumps up and he knocks the orange juice. It was a glass pitcher of orange juice. He knocks it off the table. They're outside, and it crashes to the ground. And he said that Dr. Henry at this point was being controlling, and that, he was a grown man and that he couldn't be controlled. And he said that he's going to have to find someplace else to live. And then I think that, that's actually a good idea. But here is the thing. DeQuavion told the producers that, he's moving out. And he said that if Dr. Henry tells his probation officer, his PO, anything crazy, that Dr. Henry is going to have a big problem. So I wonder what he means by that. So anyway, the next group that I want to introduce you to is Javon and Artie. Now, I thought that these two were hilarious as well. Okay, so Javon was in prison for drug trafficking, and Artie met him through a friend that was in prison, and she agreed that once he was released that he could come and he could live with her. So anyway, Javon gets out of prison, and he goes over to Artie's home. He puts his stuff down, and he told her, I'll holler at you a little bit later. He was going to take a ride with his cousin. So anyway, he goes out with his cousin, and he's gone for 2 days. And when he comes back, Artie just jumps all over him. She was like, you so disrespectful. When you were in prison, we used to talk every day. Now you get out and I haven't seen you for 2 days. You couldn't call. So Javon is like looking at her like she's out of his mind. Now you can tell that Artie has another expectation, but Javon is not showing anything like as if he has any feelings towards her, or even that he even told her that before he got out of prison, because he was like looking at her like she was crazy. And this is the thing with Artie, she comes across as, she has a bad attitude. She started screaming and hollering at him, telling him, you got me effed up. You got me effed up. I mean, she's treating this dude like, this is her man. Artie, nah, you're his sponsor. Y'all, did you forget? Your roommates, okay? So I'm curious to see how this particular arrangement unfolds. So then next we have Sandra and Kyle. They agreed to let Nick come move into their home. Nick had served 2.5 years in prison for delivery of a controlled substance. Now, how they know each other is Nick was friends with Kyle's father, and Kyle's father had passed away while he was in prison. So Nick took on the responsibility of reacclimating Kyle into society once he was released from prison. So anyway, Kyle, they drive 6 hours to the prison to pick up Kyle. It was, Nick. Him and his wife, Sandra, went to go pick up Nick. Now, Kyle is happy that he can help this young guy, but, his wife, Sandra, not so much. So anyway, after they pick up Nick from the penitentiary, they write out a list of rules for him. And the rules were simple. They just basically said, no drugs, that they didn't want any company in the house because, their home wasn't a flop house, and that, he needed to get a job. And then after 90 days, they would go ahead and reevaluate the situation, but they expect for him to have his own accommodations after 90 days. And they made him sign and date that agreement, okay? That they said, this is a binding contract. You don't follow these rules, I'm sorry, but, you're going to have to find someplace else to go. So anyway, the next day, Kyle works a lot. So anyway, Sandra and Nick, they go out, they run errands, and Sandra decides that she wants to stop and get something to eat. And just lo and behold, she wanted to go to Chick-fil-A. And Nick had told her that that's the Chick-fil-A that, he had gotten arrested at. And he said what happened is he had ordered a 30-piece nuggets and a Sprite, and they had given him water. So he went back through the drive-thru. And he said that, he was, all out of his mind from, doing illegal substances and stuff. So this fool drives back around the drive-thru because he wanted his Sprite, and they had given him water, and he fell asleep in the drive-thru. So he was awakened by the police knocking on his window, and he had all types of illegal substances in plain sight. So he was arrested on the spot. Okay, so after they leave Chick-fil-A, Nick says that he wants to stop by the car dealership because he needed a car because he had to have transportation in order to find a job. But this is the thing. He doesn't have a job. Who does he think is going to pay for this car? So we'll see if he ends up with this car, who pays for it. But anyway, the next group that I want to introduce to you is Tiffany and Ari. Tiffany had met Ari a couple of years ago, back in the day, and Ari went to prison for 4 years for like identity theft and credit card for fraud and, writing, bad checks and things of that nature. But anyway, Tiffany had agreed to let Ari stay with her. So she's on her way to prison to pick up Tiffany, and she has her best friend Quinn in tow. And the whole ride there, Quinn was telling Tiffany that she just really didn't think that this was going to be a good idea. This is the thing. Okay, so they get to the prison, and Ari, her name is Ariel. She gets in the car. She gets on the passenger side, and Quinn is in the back seat. Quinn is like really, being guarded, and she's sitting back there looking like a big old bodyguard, and she has like this big attitude. So anyway, her and Quinn and Ari start arguing the minute that she got in the car, because Ari, pops an attitude because Quinn questioned her as to, whether or not, she was going to follow the rules. And she was just checking for her friend, just, making sure that this girl wasn't trying to use her. And Ari told her that she needed to mind her business. Okay, so Quinn said, look, broad, I'll slap you from the back. And then Ari called her a disrespectful ish. Okay, but this is the thing. Tiffany and Quinn are best friends. And Tiffany told Quinn when Ari got out that, she would have to leave. So I'm looking at it like this. Okay, the girl just got in the car. She's talking that yang to your best friend, and you say nothing. So I'm curious to see as to whether or not Quinn and Tiffany remain friends, and I'm curious to see what type of trip that Ari is going to take Tiffany on. So this is the best couple. Well, the best, we'll call it arrangement. So you have Bill. He's a jewel thief, and he became pen pals with Sharna. Her name is Sharna, while he was in prison. Now, this is the backstory. Sharna was having marital problems with her husband. They don't even sleep in the same room. So she started writing, inmates as part of a prison ministry. And that is where she met Bill. Okay. And then she agreed that she would sponsor Bill once he was released from prison. Now, her husband, his name is Mark. He's not with this at all. Now, they're like super religious people, and they were in church, and one of the parishioners asked Mark if he had a problem with his wife Sharna moving in an inmate. And he just, sitting there, he was like, well, no, I haven't really seen anything inappropriate going on between, Bill and his wife Sharna. And I'm sitting there thinking, you don't think there's anything inappropriate with your wife, right in a prison inmate and then inviting him into your home? You don't see anything wrong with that? But let me describe the way that Sharna and her husband look. They look, she's like all plain, she doesn't have any makeup. They would kind of put you in the mind of like 7-day Adventists or, Mormons. As a matter of fact, I think they are 7-day Adventists. But, they have like, the Mormon attire. You wouldn't think that, Sharna would actually invite someone from the prison into her home. But I think that she has an ulterior motive. I actually think that, she has a crush on Bill. So anyway, she goes to pick up Bill alone. She drives 10 hours alone to go pick up Bill. And then she sleeps in her car for 4 hours before she goes to pick him up. So anyway, she was riding along on her way to go pick him up, and she's like singing all these church hymns. She's happy as a lark, She's sitting up there singing all off key, and she's acting like she's getting ready to go pick up her man from prison. So anyway, Bill, he's like short, fat, squatty. I don't know if you guys watched 90 Day Fiance, but if you remember, it's Annie and I think it's David. He's a dead ringer for David. He could actually be David or be David's twin brother, just to give you an idea of his physical appearance. And he also has this vibe like, he's just getting ready to take Mark and Shauna for everything that they have. So anyway, after he was released, Shauna takes him to lunch, and she gets mad at him because he orders like this big double-decker hamburger, and she's a vegetarian. And I was taken aback by that because, that's a grown man. He can eat whatever he wants to eat. He never said that he was going to be a vegetarian, but she told one of the producers that she thought that once he got out, that, he would live a good, healthy, clean Christian life, which also consisted of not eating meat. So anyway, he's not there long before Bill and Shauna start changing the way that they treat him. I mean, they have him in there. He can't put any meat in the freezer. So he has the meat on top of, like deli meat, cold cut meat. He has that on top of the air conditioner vent. And he has it supposed to be hidden, with toilet paper. And also, they're doing things to him like hiding the toilet paper, counting how much toilet paper that, he's using. Now, they don't have, like the city water system, so they don't have, their ice machine doesn't work on their refrigerator. So they bought an ice machine and they hid it from Bill because they don't want him to use it, okay? Because it's their ice machine. So they were like rationing out ice to him. But see, Bill wasn't going for that. Bill was like, okay, I don't think so. So he goes downstairs in the basement. He goes and gets the ice machine. And once he did that, all hell broke loose. They had written him out some rules as well. These rules were put on like a rainbow poster, and then the room that they had for him to live in was is their granddaughter's room, and they had like the unicorn bedspread on it and unicorns on it. And Mark, the husband, said that was by design because he didn't want Bill to get too comfortable within the home. So anyway, Bill is breaking all of the rules. He's going downstairs using their ice machine. He has meat in the house. He's just like parlaying on the porch, like, posted up like he plans on being there forever. But anyway, we're going to have to wait till next week to see, how this particular relationship evolves, because Shauna's husband is like, basically like Bill has to go. So, Bill already said that he was leaving because he was sick and tired of them, waving the Bible at him. Okay. And he also said that, he was sick and tired of Shauna and Mark's controlling manipulation. And he said that he was moving out. And I think that that's a good idea, because you don't just, come into somebody's house, and they're showing you the goodness of their heart and you just totally take advantage of them. But anyway, I can't wait until tonight. The show comes on Inmate to Roommates. It comes on Thursday nights. It comes on A&E, and it comes on at 7 o'clock. Now, I just basically introduced to you all the participants in the show. But if you go, I left a lot out as well. But I promise you that if you go back and you look at the episodes, you will definitely get a good key, because it's just unbelievable how some people act. You know how you just like look at people and you're like, the lights are on, but, is anybody home? And anyway, I'm curious to see how these different relationships develop. And again, it's Inmate to Roommate, and it's aired on A&E. 7 o'clock, comes on Thursday night. I'm Onna Harps. Don't forget, if you like the video, hit that like button, comment, hit that notification bell. That way you'll be notified each and every time I upload a video. And I'll be back here probably tomorrow night to let you know what happened in tonight's episode. Okay, I'm Onna Harps. I gotta go. See ya.